So, like, let's look at Trump on the stump right now. Here he is, more of this performance at the Detroit Economic Forum, where he was bashing Detroit, and I don't think he knew he was doing that. So that's another issue. Like, what? I don't think he knows what he's talking about. If he does, would you insult a city to the city? Sam Stein, to get to you on the other side of this, take a look.
We are the piggy bank that everyone wants, that someday we will continue along the path. We've been, really, it's been an amazing path. It's been a horrible period of time, but almost the last 4 years, we will be, I will tell you that if I get elected, we will be a piggy bank stronger than ever before, but we will be a fool no longer. I have more complaints on grocery. The word grocery, you know, it's sort of simple word, but it sort of means like everything you eat. The stomach is speaking. It always does. And I have more complaints about that. Bacon and things going up, double, triple, quadruple. They built a very big plant. Many countries, they do that. And then all of a sudden you hear that they're leaving Milwaukee or they're leaving wherever they may be located. It's very sad to see it. And it's so simple. I mean, you know, this isn't like Elon with his rocket ships that land within 12 inches on the moon where they wanted to land. Or he gets the engines back. That was the first I realized. I said, who the hell did that? I saw engines about 3 or 4 years ago. These things were coming, cylinders, no wings, no nothing. And they're coming down very slowly, landing on a raft in the middle of the ocean someplace with a circle. Boom. Reminded me of the Biden circles that he used to have, right? He'd have 8 circles and he couldn't fill them up. But then I heard he beat us with the popular vote. I don't know. Couldn't fill up the 8 circles. I always loved those circles. They were so beautiful. They were so beautiful to look at. In fact, the person that did them, that was the best thing about the level of that circle was great. But they couldn't get people, so they used to have the press stand in those circles because they couldn't get the people. Then I heard we lost. Oh, we lost. No, we're never going to let that happen again. But we've been abused by other countries.
I mean, I wouldn't even call that the weave. I would not grace that with the phrase word salad. That just made no sense. And I just don't understand anybody right now who could watch him talk and say, yeah, he definitely makes more sense than the alternative. Like all these people, I was watching the news yesterday, flipping around and hearing hosts whining, Kamala Harris needs to do more. Okay, more than everything she's doing? Fine, give me your ideas. But what? I mean, watch the alternative for 2 minutes. Grocery, the stomach is speaking. Elon's rocket ships, cylinders, circles, beautiful circles. What the hell? I mean, that's like an epic weave that he talks about, but his weaves aren't brilliant. You know what he's doing? He's getting through the moment as an aging artist, okay? He's just getting through the moment and insulting Detroit to its face. And you're right, Simone. There is racism in there.
Oh, yeah.
There's always a tinge of racism in everything he says.
Oh, he thought he was speaking to white people and they didn't live in Detroit.
People
so he thought he could trash. That's my estimation.
Yeah, it's a developing
he thought he could
nation.
Trash. Oh, yeah. Let me trash Detroit because y'all must live in the suburbs.
Let me tell you something. There's something wrong with people who can watch that and think the alternative, Kamala Harris, isn't more articulate, more prepared, more experienced, more able to, and when I say articulate, that means actually deliver a message to the American people on a certain policy. You know she can. If you can't believe it and this is your choice, you're lying to yourself and you're going to ruin this country. It's going to be on you. It's going to be on you, because there's no way you can watch that or any of his speeches and get anything out of it except for a hateful, racist, bigoted, tired, aging, branding I wouldn't say genius, branding obsessed narcissist. So Sam, with that, tell me though how Kamala Harris appeals to reasonable Republicans, but still excites the base. I think it's possible, but I do think it's going to involve reasonable people stepping up for this country.
I think there's a reason that Kamala Harris continuously tells people to watch Trump rallies. And I also think there's a reason that Donald Trump refused to do a second debate with Kamala Harris.
Oh, God, no, he can't do that.
I think when the contrast is made apparent and when people see Trump, and I watched all, God knows how long that was, hour and 30 minutes of talk, 30 minutes of questions yesterday. I mean, what we just played was, just part of it. I mean, at one point he said the problem with tariffs is that the word doesn't have a good PR agent. I thought that was a weird one. Your question is difficult, though, because on the one hand, the easiest way to break through and make that contrast for Harris is to literally get on the stage with him. The second easiest is to encourage people to watch him. But Trump does do one thing, which is he floods the zone. And by that, I mean he's constantly in our living rooms, on our TV sets. He's cocooned in conservative TV, but he does a lot of events. He knows that he just needs to pump out a lot of this BS, and that makes it hard for other things to break through. It also kind of makes us desensitized to what we see and when we see it. And I think that's the challenge for Harris, is how can you break through that? How can you put a good contrast forward? And she's done it to a degree. I think she's getting sharper and she's doing more media. I think this last week has been good for her to get out there and do these types of events. She just got to keep it going.
All right, we're going to talk more about this. Still ahead on Morning Joe, President Biden has some strong words for Donald Trump. Get a life. We'll show you those new comments. But first, our next guest is asking the question, why aren't hurricane-impacted states trying to extend voter registration? We'll talk about that next on Morning Joe. And as we go to break, Donald Trump appeared on Wednesday's episode of the comedy podcast Flagrant. There, the hosts laughed out loud when the ex-president struggled to defend a rambling answer, which he chalked up to, oh no, here he goes again, doing a weave.
I actually mentioned Air Force One. It was Air Force One was there. So I mentioned Air Force One, and then I said how I got $1.6 billion off the price of Air Force One. So, but then you have to come back to the story. Where was Air Force One taken you? So anyway, I do a weave. I call it the weave. And some people think it's so genius, but the bad people, what they say is, he was rambling. Yeah. It's not a ramble. There's no rambling.
This is a weave.
This is a weave. I call it the weave. Good name. I'm not sure. That's another name. We had fake news. We came up with lots of names. Yeah. But the weave is, I think we should make the weave a part of that stable.
Yeah, you really weaved right answering my question twice.
That's brilliant. So I don't even want to know the answer anymore.
I lost interest.
We'll weave back. Let's weave back to his question. Because this is where...